let me add my welcome to all of you. Been a long while since I actually saw many of you in person, especially for a press meet of TVS. So thank you for being here. I know today was also the budget, but fortunately or unfortunately, we couldn't postpone this day. So we also decided to go ahead with that. Let me start by recounting something which many of you may be aware, but for the benefit of those who may not be, I think it's worth it for me to explain. So, if you look at the evolution of TVS, I think I would call it we were maybe a pioneer in many things which happened. I still remember reading my great grandfather's diary in terms of mentioning how we were working to bring the automobile dealership business into India, and I believe my grandfather went to Detroit to sign the agreement in 1929 with the General Motors and brought them in here. So starting from that time, I think we not only pioneered the opportunity for bringing new practices to the automotive sector, but we have worked very closely with the ecosystem. So the dealership business was what was original business of TVS and Sons, which now is part of TVS Mobility. And similarly, we have approached the business perspective not just from the dealership, but also from the way in which we have worked on the distribution of spare parts and services. And all of it has been, I would say, led very closely by bearing in mind how not just we are bringing in new and best practices, but how do they benefit the ecosystem in general. In that background, I think one of the reasons as to why our holding company was named as TVS Mobility is also because the four businesses which come under it. First is the vehicle dealership, which I will speak to you about a little bit later in more detail. The second business is the supply chain vertical, TVS supply chain, which you are well aware of. The third vertical is the spare parts distribution and services, which I mentioned to you, or which we have talked about earlier in terms of key mobility and TVS Automobile Solutions. And the fourth vertical comprises of the manufacturing companies, which is led by, of course, TVS Trichakra and the other component parts which we manufacture, rubber, and also the services which are being provided in companies like TVS Sensing Solutions, or for that matter, Sirius, which does the battery charge. So if you look at these four verticals, all of them have significant touch points and opportunity to create and recreate the mobility space. That is the reason why our holding company has been called as TVS Mobility. So as part of this journey, actually there are a series of steps which we had initiated. Of course, you know that the digital transformation which we have attempted to make in the supply chain side and also in the key mobility side, which covers the spares and retail. So I'm not spare parts and the services side, which I'm not going to talk about here. But what we are now today announcing is a formation of a separate company as a subsidiary of TVS Mobility, which is TVS Vehicle Mobility, and that would be taking over the existing dealership business of TVS Mobility. But most importantly, the idea behind this is to recreate the mobility space by approaching it from a complete integration. The integration starts from sales and service to offering a complete suite, which is a plug and play model. I don't want to repeat what Raghavan is going to cover, so I'm trying to avoid the specific words which he will talk about in greater detail, so I won't cover what the business model is going to look at. But there are two elements which I would like to highlight, which is the integration of bringing all of these suite of services. It's a plug and play model, so people can choose, the customer can choose whichever way they want. This is going to be applicable to B2B, B to small b, and most importantly, in some cases, to B2C as well. Therefore, this is a solution which allows integration. The second element of it is what I said as the core DNA of TVS, especially TVS Mobility, which is to bring the ecosystem together. So this will include the financial, this will include insurance companies, this will include all the large corporates who are users of this sector, this will include all the vehicle manufacturers, this will include all the product vehicle manufacturers, and of course, it will include the various other players in the subsystem. And finally, we are not losing our focus in terms of continuing to work with the small and medium businesses which have been part of this and who have been our customers and with whom we have continued to support. And you will see us further integrating and using this digital know-how which we are going to have in this. So what is it that we are announcing today? We are announcing this formation of a separate company as TVS Vehicle Mobility. The second, we are announcing Mitsubishi coming in as a partner in this venture. And the reason why they are coming in is they see this as a great opportunity to bring their strengths in terms of the capability which they have, whether it be in the equipment sector, operational leases, as well as how they can help us in scaling up this business significantly in India. But equally important, which you may remember I mentioned in the context of key, that they will also work with us in supporting us in spreading this business model into the relevant geographies we choose to play in, and that is another factor which we see as big value add here. Third and the last, but equally important, is the relationships they bring with global vehicle manufacturers, with other, I would call it, players in the ecosystem with whom we will be partnering with and working with. And there's going to be a very strong partnership, so they will be collaborating with us with people, I would call it interchange, and we will have teams from Japan and working with us, and obviously vice versa when we look at expanding our business model here with. You are going to hear a statement from Mr. Ragavashi-san. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here in person. Whenever he is here next, I'm sure he may meet some of you one-on-one to give his further inputs on what we are planning to do. So the details of the investment are going to be available for you, but I think it will be better if I stop now and start taking questions post Rahul's presentation, because that will exactly highlight what the integration and bringing the ecosystem together is about. So again, the simple fact is we are partnering with Mitsubishi in this TVS Mobility Solution for vehicles, which will be, so to say, an integrated business model which provides the ecosystem to play with. And we believe that this will be very clearly differentiated because of this integrated solution which we are providing from whatever you are seeing in the market today. And we in fact collaborate with many of the announcements which have been made of people who are coming into the mobility space to work with them and support them as well. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. We will now have Mr. Shigeru Wakabayashi, CEO of Automotive and Mobility Group of Mitsubishi Corporation, who could not join us in person owing to his schedule, however, has given his video message. Let us have this AV, please.
Shigeru Wakabayashi, CEO of Automotive and Mobility Group, Mitsubishi Corporation, Japan. I have a special feeling towards India, as I lived in Chennai from 2012 to 2016 as an overseas assignment. Therefore, I'm absolutely happy to announce our further collaboration with TVS Mobility Group to subscribe 32% shareholding in TVS Vehicle Mobility Solution Private Limited today. As you all know, India now is the world's third largest automotive market, with sales of more than 5 million vehicles last year, and the expected growth rate of 6 to 7% over the next few years. TVS Mobility Group has a history of operating mobility-related businesses such as dealership, after-sales, and supply chain businesses for more than 100 years since its establishment in 1911. Based based on the strategy to develop a downstream foothold in Indian market and to contribute for the growth of India. Mitsubishi Corporation has been fostering the strategic relationship with TVS Mobility Group, including the investment in the after-sales services provider TVS Automotive Solutions in 2019. This latest investment in the merged brand dealer TVS VMS widens Mitsubishi Corporation's downstream service capabilities even further and should propel its aim to develop comprehensive mobility solutions ranging not only after-sales services and multi-brand sales, but also used vehicle, leasing, and other automotive operations. With these points in mind, Mitsubishi Corporation aims to contribute to the development of the mobility business in India together with TVS by combining the strong market recognition and customer base that TVS has developed over time and the knowledge and management know-how that MC has accumulated through its automotive value chain business around the world. 닌게로 헤라운 인게 반다도가 나토리 롬바 산도샤 응가라이 산티케라.
So in continuation to what Mr. Dinesh talked about, I thought I'd just to walk you through a couple of slides to explain what is the business model behind this entire vehicle mobility platform and what it would do. Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I think Mr. Dinesh talked aptly about how the group pioneered new business models, pioneered new initiatives in the automotive sector from a historical basis. He talked about dealership business, where we started as a transportation business, got into dealership business, moved into manufacturing. I think post-reforms accelerated the service space like supply chain solutions or aftermarket solutions through key mobility. It's now transformed the third opportunity under the group through Vehicle Mobility Solution to address the entire vehicle life cycle. I think that makes it, in a way, our mobility journey complete from a scope of delivery perspective, presents us an opportunity to penetrate every customer in deep so that we become a true business partner to companies in their own growth business. But there are four trends which are very clearly visible in the automotive industry globally. The first one is electrification, which we all are seeing, and I would categorize it as a non-night fuel because it will very soon change. Multiple technologies do come, but the impact of that is a major part of the change which we are seeing is moving it from new sales to usage. In fact, today globally in many countries, 20 to 30% of the vehicles are directly into usage and not through sales, which essentially means the new business models like hailing, sharing, leasing, operating on a subscription, multiple platforms have started gaining significant traction, and therefore it has gone into a different business model, though primarily driven by singular companies who are focused on one particular vehicle domain, like passenger cars or commercial vehicles or buses or others. The second one comes obviously is because of this nature of change. An average car is now having more than 15 sensors, and the trucks have more sensors, and it's now gotten into even vehicles like a two-wheeler. So what this essentially brings is 95% of the vehicles sold today are connected, which means the vehicle has an ability to talk, throw data outside, and tells us invariably, please not only track me, but also read my health. And can you manage the vehicle more cost effectively? Can you manage the uptime of the vehicle more effectively? In a way, the vehicle is becoming a big server with the software,
which is throwing more than 25 gigs of data every second. And that's the ability to read and manage the vehicle, along with the vehicle as a usage, is accelerating the change in which a vehicle can be used today. And the third one, therefore, in terms of usage, is the business model from ownership to usage, essentially on demand. In fact, large corporates, for example, if you take a large engineering companies who are there, who have more than 20,000 contractors across the country, multiple size and shape, organized and unorganized, multiple locations across the country. When we did our study, they come and said, we are looking for, if there is one player who can manage pan-India, multiple types of vehicles, be it from material handling equipment to excavators to cranes to aerial lift platforms, everything, and manage it including fleet management, service, parts, and you connect it to your cloud and tell me the uptime of the vehicle and manage it as a single account. That's most desirable because infrastructure space is accelerating in India and most of these players are looking for a tangible solution, as Dinesh talked about, as an integrated platform in which they can actually manage this. And that's the need of the world. A large supply chain company like SCS is looking for somebody who can put the forklifts every place where they open warehouses and manage it for them. So it's not only cars or passenger cars or commercial trucks or light commercial vehicle in quick commerce. Most important is the mining and equipment companies or the construction equipment and mining companies, where there is a huge opportunity because the infrastructure is growing at a rapid pace, driving the Indian economy. And the last but not the least is, can somebody provide end-to-end mobility experience, which means the company does not have to go and talk to multiple people and one can manage it for all. Given the four requirements, changes which are happening and that's completely disrupting the whole space, is how TVS Mobility, Dinesh talked about how we are organized in supply chain solution, which is the key mobility platform as digital mobility for aftermarket. The vehicle lifecycle management is the TVS Vehicle Mobility Solutions, the subsidiary which will primarily focus on. One, it will continue to drive and expand the dealership business, what we do in partnership with vehicle manufacturers, primarily in South but across the country today. The second one, therefore, is how do you provide the value to the customers who bought the vehicle from us so that they can manage the vehicle seamlessly. So we launched a TVS One, and that TVS One helps people to get anything required with the car or the truck which they buy from us and manage it for them easily. The next one is he talked about as a life cycle. Since when we did the study, customers who came us and said, I don't want to buy a vehicle. Primarily, we started with commercial equipment and mining, and this, can you actually provide it on lease? And that's when we really sat and understood, they don't mean lease. They say, can you provide me vehicle as a service so that I don't have to worry about, I can focus on construction. I can work on infrastructure building as an operation. And that's where the value of TVS as a brand came in, because one, it's pan-India. It's not about single location which today he is getting from, and therefore he has to work with more than 15,000 contractors. Pan-India, one account, full vehicle range, multiple model from subscription of a short term to a 5-year to 10-year contract over a long term based upon the projects he has. Single technology to manage, all connected to the cloud to manage the uptime of the vehicle, and therefore you deliver a KPI based digital business model to him as a vehicle itself as a service. And tomorrow we could expand this from commercial equipment mining to LCVs and commercial vehicle for quick commerce companies or last mile companies which we talked about, and thereafter into EV buses as it presents an opportunity into the whole space. And that's what we called as vehicle as a service and mobility as a service in terms of mass. So why did we choose to have the dealership vehicle as a focus? Because dealership business presents us with an opportunity where we already partner with many vehicle manufacturers over a long period of time since inception. The strength of TVS Mobility is we do both the ends. We work with manufacturers for more than 50, 60 years, delivered them highest market share in the country, states where they operated, and we provide both sales, service, parts, everything to those manufacturers, therefore good technology capability across what we dealt with. We have sold these vehicles to customers. In many of the customers, we have groomed
the entrepreneurs, the rental entrepreneurs and others. Therefore, we have the customer knowledge, we have the vehicle knowledge, we have the ecosystem of financial service providers, insurance providers, fintech companies, all of them. And then the thought came, why can't we stitch it together, give it the way, and again demonstrate our pioneering ability to drive, in terms of the new business models. And that is what really helped us to move from new vehicle sales to vehicle as a service and to mobility as a service, where we can address the entire vehicle capability, right from commercial equipment and mining to trucks to LCVs to EV buses in what we could rate as a portfolio. Next. Yeah, so, and this is the platform which we talked about, where we launched our cloud already. The cloud is live today, more than 100 billion records, and it keeps reading from all the vehicle live. I would say one of the largest private automotive cloud. And that cloud reads the data, and we partner with all the vehicle manufacturers, service providers, and tech startups. In a way, we are expanding the value for the vehicle manufacturers whom we are working with already, and strengthen, become a true business partner for the customer segment, which corporates or fleets or enterprise customers and government agencies. But Dinesh talked about something called a menu, and that's a menu of a portfolio which we could provide for. He picks and chooses based upon his project requirement, need not be just about the overall business requirement. And that's the way the company has been carved out of TVS Mobility as Vehicle Mobility, with its dealership business coming in. And we're very happy about Mitsubishi joining in as a partner to accelerate the journey, because if we are talking about today, we are selling close to 500,000 cars already. And equally, we are now talking about another couple of million in the commercial vehicles and trucks, the part. And if I put all these together, and if you're talking about 30% of this, if I take a global benchmark, I think we are in the right place at the right time. Thank you very much.